הפכת מספדי למחול מחולי פיתחת שקי ותעשה ניסימך
Welcome to the Warsaw Jewish Cemetery. Look at the irony there. I'm bringing you to a cemetery to learn about the life. Because the people who were buried in this cemetery lived normal lives. And they died normal deaths.
There were a few, but this is the main Jewish cemetery of Warsaw. It goes back to the early 19th century. Basically known as the biggest Jewish cemetery in Europe. About 250,000 graves here.
Ludwico Samenhof, okay, who was creator or the creator of Esperanto.
Hashem v'choleli Hashem Hashem
collected here on the street outside of the ghetto, gathered here, waiting to be forced onto those trains. The trains were back that way, and they were pushed on the trains that way, and then the train would go an hour and a half to Treblinka, northeast of here. So in my, again, humble opinion, Treblinka begins here. So in essence, we're standing at the gates of a death camp.
השבעתי אתכם בנות ירושלים אם תמצאו את דודי מה תגידו לו השבעתי אתכם בנות ירושלים אם תמצאו.
They come to this town square. The Nazis take the women and the children to one side and the men to the other side. They load them on trucks, the women and the children, and they drive them to the forest. They take the men and they march them to this forest. We're going to follow their footsteps. We're going to get onto the bus and we're going to go to this place in the forest where the Jews of Tikushim were shot and killed by the SS.
לכל איש יש שם שנתן לו אלוהים ונתנו.
Treblinka was created literally so none of us should exist. It was created to wipe out, exterminate the Jewish people in Europe. What does it mean to us as Jews 70 years later to walk into this place, to walk onto this ground? How do you walk into a place that was meant to kill you?
In the gas chamber, they're all crammed in. thinking that they're going to have a shower. And when they close the doors, the Nazis will throw in the carbon monoxide, and in 20 minutes, a couple thousand Jews will die.
Rabbi Pietrikov and his wife and children, Rav Chaim Moshe and Rabbanit Chaya Leah, and their children, Lulik and Tulik. The Gaon of Moshe Chaim stemmed from a line of 36 generations of direct generations of rabbis. Tulik then in 1944 does everything he can to save his younger brother Lulik, who's about 7 or 8 at the time, and the brothers part. A little while later, the liberation comes and the Americans liberate the camp. And amazingly enough, both of the brothers survived, Lulik and Tulik. And where did they want to go? To Eretz Israel. In Naphtali's own words, for 50 years I carried the responsibility passed on to me by my father before he went to his death in Treblinka. He placed in my care, a weak child who was 5 years old but looked like he was only 3 or even younger. For 3 years I served as father and mother, guardian and protector to my younger brother Israel Meir, or Lulik as we called him. I often felt despair attacking me, flinging me helplessly to my destruction. I think it was the mission my father gave me to bring my younger brother to safety and to ensure the continuation of our family's rabbinic dynasty that kept me alive and gave me the will to continue fighting for our lives. 48 years earlier, when we first arrived in Jerusalem, we had stood in the same spot. Then young Israel Meir gazed at the stones of the wall without understanding what he was seeing. This time, he was praying just 2 hours before his anticipated election to the highest rabbinical post in the land, in Israel. My younger brother, who had risen from the piles of ashes in the death camps, was chosen that day to serve as the chief rabbi of the state of Israel. I looked at him from up close and felt tears welling up in my eyes. As I left the wall, I felt profound relief, as if a heavy burden had been lifted from my shoulders and conscience. At last, my almost impossible mission had been fulfilled.
לכל איש יש שם שנתן לו הים ונתן לו מותו